Heyo everybody, Haku here, finally with HaQ&A 62. This has been 2 to 3 weeks coming, has it not? So yeah, it's taken a while. Been busy trying to catch up to videos, being behind on videos, just really struggling with it. But yeah, finally back with HaQ&A to discuss things brought up in the comments, just things going on this week. And there's quite a bit to discuss for a few series. Namely Boku no Hero Academia, Tower of God, and Magical Girl Raising Project. I have a little bit of One Piece too, but it's mainly those three are the ones that have a lot of discussion. And other than that, we have plenty of general discussion because the last anime season just ended, spring season, summer season just started up. We're about 1 to 2 episodes in for most shows. I know Hinologia is 3 episodes in. There's some that haven't even started yet. And I am watching a lot. Yeah. First, though, before I start talking about the anime season, I think I'm going to be changing the schedule up a bit because I think I found a way for the schedule to work even better and for me to add another anime to cover week to week. So the way I'm pretty much going to do it, other than the obvious 12 Beast and Manmusu and Walking Dead comics whenever they come out, doing videos on them, the strictly weekly stuff is going to be the Tower of God live reaction and One Piece anime review on Monday. I've decided to move the One Piece anime review back to Monday so I can have time on Sunday for something else. Tuesday will be the Tower of God review, just that. Wednesday will be the Mao Shoujo Weeksei Keikaku read-through, moving it to Wednesday because it'll be easy to record it on Monday and that'll give me 2 days to have it ready to post by Wednesday. That way, because I know I'm going to record the Tower of God live reaction as soon as I wake up, and then no matter when I record the One Piece anime review, whether I have it already written and I record it in the morning with Tower of God, or if I record it in the afternoon with Mao Shoujo Weeksei Keikaku, either way I'm good. That just gives me plenty of time to record that and have it ready by Wednesday. So then Thursday will be the Boku no Hero Academia live reaction / review, One Piece live reaction / review. Friday is going to be the HaQ&A. I've decided to move it to Friday because the struggle I was having with doing it on Wednesday is that I was working on so many videos on Monday. And see, Monday I'm cool to record Magical Girl Raising Project because there's no writing, no preparing involved. But for the HaQ&A, I was like, I can't record or I can't prepare and stuff very well on Monday or Tuesday. So I have to do it on Wednesday, and that ends up getting it pushed back to like Friday anyway. So I was like, well, since the only thing I'll have to do is, in order for me to post Magical Girl Raising Project on Wednesday, it'll have to be pretty much almost done except the thumbnail, and the thumbnail only takes a couple minutes. So I can prepare and record the HaQ&A on Wednesday, and that gives me 2 days to get everything edited and done to post on Friday. So I think it's best to do Friday. Then Saturday will be the Boku no Hero Academia 2 anime reviews. And Sunday will be the Centaur no Naomi reviews, and I want to add Princess Principal just because after the first episode I think it's the best thing I've seen this season. I really enjoyed it and I think it's good. So I want to cover it week to week because I feel like out of all the ones I'm watching, it's one that's good to cover week to week as well. The only one I'm questioning myself about is Made in Abyss, but we'll see how that goes. So that's how I'm thinking of doing it, and then for things like full series reviews or just videos discussing certain topics, I have 2 special Tower of God videos already written that I want to do, some read-through videos for a manga called Elf-san wa Yaseru Aranai, that's it. So I have a couple of videos I've planned and things like that I want to do, and since this schedule's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, I'll actually have time to do them. Of course, whenever I finally get the Manmusu waifu video, that as well. So this gives me more time to be able to do stuff like that. I think it's best to slow down, take some proper time, and work on the quality of the videos, because I feel like I got so overwhelmed with having to cover so much stuff that it kind of hurt the quality a little bit. I mean, I feel like it was still good. I was still putting my all into it. It was just that I was spread so thin over all these different videos that it just kind of wore down on me a little. So I think, at least for now, this schedule is a little bit lighter. Still a video every single day, sometimes 2 videos a day. but it is a little bit lighter, and I think I can handle it a bit more. So, seems to be all good. So yeah, let's talk about the anime season now that I've talked about that. So far, I've got like 29 that I'm planning to watch, 26 new ones plus 3, actually 25 new ones plus 4 old ones continuing. And of course, the old ones continuing I'm caught up to are really, really good. Recreators Virgin Soul, or Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul, and Boku no Hero Academia 2. They are all really, really good, really worth watching. I think I've cried twice already this season of Virgin Soul. But any of those 3, if you are not caught up to them and you think that they'd be good to watch, definitely I would recommend them. Also, Little Witch Academia just ended. It was incredible. I got a couple comments about that, but I didn't want to add them in because they were pretty much just saying the ending was great, and the ending was great. So I just figured I would say it in the general area to try to get those of you who didn't watch, go watch Little Witch Academia. So yeah, of the 25 new ones I'm going to watch, I think I've only watched 13 so far. And of those 13, I will discuss them real quick, run through which ones I've seen, so you know which ones you can discuss with me, like in the comments. Because just because I'm not covering them week to week doesn't mean we can't talk about them week to week in the comments and on in the HaQ&A. Also, if you want, I'm leaving a link when I do the timestamps. I'll leave a link to the Discord. And I'll do that every week on Wednesday for the HaQ&A, and the link will last a day. So that's just, I feel like there have been a decent amount of people that have commented down there when I say, comment down there anytime and I'll give you a link to the Discord. There have been a couple people, but then when I just post it without saying anything, or without them having to ask, people are more open to it, and more people join up. So every Wednesday when I do the HaQ&A, I'm going to post a link that lasts a day down there for anybody who wants to join. And if you miss that link, just really just comment. I'll give you a link anytime. So yeah, talking about these from my favorite that I've seen this season to the least favorite I've seen so far this season. And I've thought all were good. I haven't thought anything was bad yet. But starting off, Princess Principal, I think it's my favorite so far this season. I think everything about it was really strong. The animation, everything was great. I don't think it was the best, but it was really good. But it's mostly just the story and direction I think is awesome. And the setting, just spies in a steampunk Victorian England, I think is a really cool setting. So I really enjoy it. Second, I would say, is a little bit tentative, but I'm really excited for it. And that's Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss is another one that I'm not sure if I want to just add in week to week, because though the first 2 episodes I've liked them, I've been like, the animation's good, it's unique, it's okay. I haven't been super into it. I've really enjoyed it, but I haven't been really blown away. But I just have a lot of people, and I see a lot of people in the comments for each episode saying, oh, it gets so much better, oh, it gets so much better. And that's another reason why I think it might be good to cover week to week, is because it would bring in a lot of new people, because it seems to have a decent following from the source material. I think the source material was I don't know if it was a manga or a light novel. I think it may have been a manga. But either way, Made in Abyss is another one that second place, because I see a lot of future potential with it, especially once they really get down into the abyss and doing stuff there. I think it's going to be really good. It's just right now still in that sort of introduction setup phase. Third place is one that surprised the hell out of me when I watched it. Tenchi no 3P. Now, Tenchi no 3P, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was going to be pretty... I don't want to say I thought it was going to be crappy, but I thought it was just going to be generic anime girls doing anime girl stuff. Probably some bad animation from the looks of the promo art, because I didn't know much about it all. And the description was kind of so I was like, I don't think this will be that great. And then imagine my surprise when I actually get around to watching it, and the animation was some of the smoothest looking this season. Wasn't perfect, of course. There really isn't a lot of blow you away great animation this season like there was, say, last season. But I still thought it looked quite nice, and the story was way more well directed and well paced than I thought it would be, and it was really entertaining and funny. One of the funniest for sure this season, so far at least. It's hard to really judge an episode or two in. Next up, I have been watching Nanamaru Sanbats, and I put it this high because I really, really like it. It feels unique, it feels fun, and I don't know, just the whole, some might say it being based on like a quiz show kind of deal is like a quiz show club kind of deal is boring, but I found it really, really interesting, and the biggest thing I see people complaining about, the voice acting, is the thing I like the most about it. I feel like it's mostly, what was her name? Oh god, I don't remember her name, but the main female character. Don't remember it at the moment. For some reason I'm thinking like Yukami or something. I can't remember at the moment. But I've seen a lot of complaints that her voice is just bad, or the voice acting's bad, but no, she talks like an actual normal human. She's not like the really high-pitched, shrieking, screaming voice we're used to for teenage girls in anime. It's just a normal, actual girl's voice. And I actually really like that. I think it makes I think it makes the character feel unique and different, because I feel like if she did just have that sort of normal kind of voice, she'd feel like, well, I mean, I like her character as well. She's one of the funniest and most engaging characters in the show to me, so I don't think she's like the generic female lead character, but I think if she had that kind of voice, it would make her feel more like a generic female lead. Next up, I'd say Knights and Magic is one that I've really, really liked. Again, not perfect. The main character, Ernesti, is adorable. Ernesti is so cute. The enemies being CG, well, I don't think they were fully CG. I think there were some non-CG scenes. The enemies in general look pretty cool. They look alright. I really like the concept of the knight suits and everything, and the magic aspect of it, and how they're controlled by magic and not technology, because this world's technology is still back in medieval fantasy sort of setting. In general, I've liked Knights and Magic. The characters haven't really come across that much to me other than the main character, Ernesti, but I think it's been good so far. Next up, Centaur and Nanayami. Only been one episode, so I've only seen one episode, but I think it has a really interesting setting. The first episode was just kind of relaxed, kind of chill, whatever, slice of life. Not particularly overly funny or overly entertaining, but it's another one that I see, like Made in Abyss, where I see a lot of potential for the future, especially with the background seeming a bit dark, and everything I've heard about, or heard people saying that have read the manga, have said really good things about the future. So it's one of those where, even though the first episode was good, I think it has a lot of potential to be great. Next up was Vatican Kiseki Chosekan, which I really liked this one. It felt like a real serious mystery, and it brought up a lot of questions, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. After that would be Hinalogi from Luck and Logic, I believe. And Hinalogi is another one. I really like the setting. It's your normal it's kind of a magical girl school setting, and I like magical girl series. I think it's good so far. Was it the best? No, but I think it's good. Isekai Shokudo, or Restaurant to Another World. I love the setting. I love the idea. It's not necessarily your typical fantasy, but I think that's actually kind of good. It feels unique, feels different, and I really like the characters from what I've seen so far. Next up is Kakegurui, and I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed that it's so far down. I didn't like the first episode that much. The story felt kind of whatever. I didn't like the animation. I definitely did not like the animation. It felt like the animators went to Tite Kubo's school of hating backgrounds. But I don't know. I think watching the opening is what makes me still really like it, though. Not because even the opening song I don't like that much, but just the designs and stuff from the opening, I'm like, okay, this is going to get a lot more interesting. They're not just all going to look the same like they did in the first episode. First episode, everybody was just generic character in a generic uniform. But there are so many cool looking designs in the opening, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to get much better, and I'm interested because it seems like it's going to get darker and have more twists, and I think it's going to be good. Next up, Battle Girl High School. Is this show broken already? I don't know. This show is one of those animation, like I was talking about before. Animation, just cute anime girls doing cute anime girl things. And the big problem with Battle Girl High School, there are too many damn characters. They introduce us to like damn near 30 characters in the first episode, and barely any of them get screen time. Episode 2 did better because we stuck with the same amount of characters, but they get more development, and I got to know more about them. So I think it's going to be good for me, enjoyable for me, but I don't particularly think it's going to be great. It's just going to be something I enjoy for what it is. Because, biggest complaint is that even though I like shows with a lot of characters, if they can handle them right, they didn't like slowly give us like 3 to 4 new characters an episode. They just threw 30 at us in the first episode. I was like, okay, this is way too much. How am I supposed to remember all of these characters? And what makes any of them different from any other? And then, of course, Misaki's so OP, she makes the other 29 characters feel a little bit pointless at times already. Next up, going into the last 2 that I've seen so far, Netsuzo Trap. Team Yuri ship all the way. Netsuzo Trap, I think, actually has a pretty engaging story and enjoyable characters so far. I actually really enjoy it, and I was thinking about even putting it up pretty high in this list, but I think what kept me from putting it kind of high is it has 10-minute episodes, and these 10-minute episodes, I think, even if it's good, I always feel like, oh, it's 10 minutes, it's not as important. There's just this lingering bias in my mind that's thinking, oh, it's just a short, it's not as important. And I think that lingering bias from it being a short series kind of hurts it. But I also think being a short series might kind of help it, because I can't really imagine from the 2 episodes I've seen so far, I can't really imagine much it being a 24-minute episode. I feel like it'd be a little bit slow, a little bit dragged out for what's going on. But we'll see how it goes. And then last place of the stuff I've watched so far, and I've enjoyed everything, Cleo no Akari. Cleo no Akari is a hard one. It felt like a cheap, really heavy-handed anti-bullying PSA, and I have a feeling that's what it is almost. Again, it's another one with 10-minute episodes. I'm still sticking with it, and I'm still saying I enjoyed it. Even though the first episode I didn't really enjoy, again, I see potential. I think that if the characters move forward and start, like the 2 main characters, like start protecting the bullied girl or whatever, start becoming friends with her, I think that it could be a really deep and engaging storyline. Just because it has the makings for a really deep and engaging storyline. So even though the first episode was whatever to me, I feel like it has everything it needs, all the ingredients for something really good. If anything, another negative, well, it's actually not a negative. I'd say a positive is that it's only 10-minute episodes. Because even though, like I said, the first episode was whatever, if the first episode was whatever for me on a series that was, say, like 24-minute episodes, I'd be like, why am I going to watch 24 minutes of whatever? But when you hear 10 minutes, it's like, okay, it's not that bad. And 3 minutes of that's going to be the opening and ending. So I'm like, it's not as bad when it's that. So I think that actually helps the series out a lot. 20 minutes of the HaQ&A talking about the schedule and anime. But I think it's worth talking about because it's something that I feel like we're going to be discussing a lot in the future, and this is sort of introducing us, bringing us into our summer season discussions. Also for the other anime I'm going to be watching, actually I have them right here. I'm going to leave a list down in the comments or the description or something. I'll leave it somewhere. But I'll just run through the other ones I plan to watch but haven't gotten around to watching really quick. Action Heroine Cheer Fruits, I've actually heard good things about it. Hajimete no Gal, I've heard it was really funny as well. Jikan no Shihaisha. I was hearing it looked interesting, and I thought it looked interesting, but then after the first episode I haven't really heard much, so I'm afraid for what that means. Musahino or Musashino. It's the second season to a series of shorts called Urawa no Sagi-chan, which I've been marathoning in my spare time. So once I catch up to that, I'll be watching Musashino or Musahino, whatever. Whichever it is, I forget. New Game 2, I still need to marathon the first season, but I'm going to marathon it and watch the second. Hopefully marathon it soon, so I can watch the second week to week properly. Sayuki Reload Blast. I was going to watch it the other day, but then I found out that it was a Japanese dub for a Chinese show that has like a bunch of episodes, like just in general. That has a ton of seasons and spin-offs and stuff. So that seems confusing, and I'm not sure how I would find and watch all of that. But I think I might just watch it as Sayuki Reload Blast because I've heard good things about it. And I'll just watch that for what it is. And if I want to go back and watch the original show that it's from or whatever, then I'll look into that later. Also, Skirt no Naka wa Keramono Deshita. Is that it? Yeah. And then The Reflection, which hasn't started yet. Gonna watch Yokai Apartment Yugana Nichijo. Is that what it's called? Yokai Apartment, I've heard good things as well, so I'm interested in that. 18th, I've not heard very good things, but I'm going to give it a try. Shikoku no Altair, I've heard okay things, and I'm definitely going to try it because I think it looks cool. And I didn't want to watch this at first, but because of people talking about it, even though it sounds like just your trash, normal isekai show, it's the isekai smartphone, blah blah blah, whatever, that title. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to give it a try. People have talked about it. So yeah, that would be it, going through all the stuff I watched. Now let's talk about the sections part by part, actually get into answering actual comments and discussing that stuff. And I'm going to start off with Tower of God. Okay, so now to talk about Tower of God. So first off, for this week's Tower of God discussion, Anime Watcher said this chapter, referring to last week's chapter, is making me think about shipping White and Rachel. I know it's crazy, right? Or technically, the last chapter was 2 weeks ago, but about the last chapter. And yet, for me, and I've heard some other people say, or some other people agreed with me after I commented this, but for me, I constantly start thinking to myself, again and again, we'll see this different scene, like all the stuff with Rachel and Bomb. I'll see this stuff and I start thinking, man, Rachel's redeemable as a character. See, you can do this, or she's forgivable. And then I remember that she killed Acraptor, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess the characters. I'm not sure if the characters can forgive her for that. I'm not sure if I, as a reader, can forgive her for that. So while she is a good, complex villain, I don't think I can forgive her or like her, other than liking her as a good villain. She is a good bad guy for us to want them to take down and stuff, you know? Next up, Sofiane Bamed said, I just discovered that I'm not the only one reading Tower of God. It makes me feel so much better to discover a real community of readers and fans. Anyway, good video. I'll try to watch more of your work. I'm also a fan of One Piece, and even if my English isn't as good as I wanted, French people represent, I appreciate what you've done. Thank you so very much. I like to throw in comments like this every once in a while, just to remind me to thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate you guys so very much. And comments like those and stuff really help me to stay motivated, knowing people that enjoy the videos. And also, for any of you that don't have very good English, don't worry about it. I can usually just figure it out, or if I have any misunderstanding, I can just ask you and anything like that. Or if you do post stuff in another language, I can try to make do with Google Translate or something. Or even if it's in Spanish, I do understand and know a bit of Spanish, so I may be able to understand what you're saying and reply in Spanish. But of course, if you're watching this, you probably know English, so you could understand me well enough. TFTM says, your pronunciation of Joaquin is awesome. I always pronounced it Joaquin. It makes sense, but doesn't sound quite as good as yours does. Lol. Thank you. For me, I've said this before, but the reason I pronounce it that way, just in case any of you are newer and you're wondering why I always call him Joaquin, I used to pronounce it Joaquin, but then after a while of doing Joaquin or Joaquin, I noticed that the name Joaquin, the Spanish name, is just spelled the exact same way as Ciu spells Joaquin, except with an H instead of a J in Ciu's case. And it's popular in Spanish-speaking countries. Ciu names a lot of his characters after soccer players, footballers. So I figured he was trying to write Joaquin. He just, it's just because the J sound makes the H in Spanish that it sort of came out as Joaquin, I guess. Or with, yeah, exactly. It came out with the H. So I think the way I say Joaquin is because I think that Joaquin is what Ciu was going for. It's just that translated into Korean characters, it's a bit more difficult when you're translating it back from Korean characters back into what would it be, Roman letters. So that's the issue. That's why I always say Joaquin instead of Joaquin. Yubraj Pocarel says, the only thing I'm hype about is the return of Rak the leader. Haha. Some people are calling the little girl with Rak maybe Eurasia Blossom. What do you think? Arthur Vasconcelos said, man, N has pink hair, right? The Eurasia girls also have pink hair. Don't you think Blossom has pink hair? And Monarch V said, bruh, no, N has pink hair. So thank both of you again for helping me out saying that as well. But yeah, I've actually seen what Yubraj was saying about people are saying that it was Eurasia Blossom. I was seeing that as well. I saw a couple people saying they thought it was Eurasia Blossom. I have no idea why. It seems really out of nowhere. But for me, in my opinion, Iruro has pink hair from the Eurasia family. Princess Eurasia N has pink hair. Miss Ice Strawberry, who was confirmed from the Eurasia family, has pink hair. So they all have pink hair. They're all sort of, I think the Eurasia family is all supposed to be kind of lolicon looking as well. But they all have pink hair, so I would assume personally that Blossom has pink hair as well, since she is the common ancestor, the common mother to them. So yeah, I don't think the girl with... I mean, the only exception to that we've seen is Lorray. Lorray is the only person from the Eurasia family that we haven't seen with pink hair. And that, of course, may be because he's just from a branch family. Of course, he's also the only male we've seen, so maybe it's only the females who have pink hair. But either way, that would be my guess as to why she's not that. If anything, she looks somewhat similar to Yiwa to me, so maybe she's from the Yeon family, if she is even from a great family. But we have so many characters right now from great families, we don't even really need somebody else from a great family, you know? Next up, Irara211 says, Gastang probably wants Bomb to save N. I agree. I've said as much as well. It seems like that's the most likely, because to me, he's probably not exactly Bomb's ally. He probably just wants to use Bomb to get what he wants, which is saving his daughter. And they agreed, they said that I'd be very skeptical if Gastang was helping Bomb out of the kindness of his heart. Also, if Bomb was caught in some sort of trouble and asked for help, Gastang probably wouldn't lift a finger if it wasn't beneficial to him in some way. So yeah, pretty much echoing my thoughts. The same I think the same thing. That Gastang is just aligning with Bomb as long as it's something that he wants. Next up, Future Guy 2045 said, so do you think that Gastang has the Thorn Fragment? It would make sense now that it was said that Gastang was helping the Grand Family behind the scenes. I think that's extremely possible, but I hope it isn't the case, because I'd rather have them like have to go to a certain place and have to find it or whatever, because if he either gives it to them or they have to barter, make some sort of deal for it, I don't really want that as much, because we already know that we're going to see that same exact thing later with Madarako's fragment, where they have to either barter with Madarako, try to take it from him, try to get him to give it to them. So as long as that's the case, I don't want Gastang to have the fragment, because I think that'd be too similar to what's going to happen with Madarako. I do think either way, though, if Gastang was protecting the Floor of Death because it had the Thorn Fragment, he probably knows where it is. He might not know where it is, but I think he probably does. So you can probably tell Bomb where to go to find it, and then Bomb will go there and either take it, or somehow or another Rachel gets it. Because I've seen a lot of people still saying they think Rachel might get it, and I still think that would be interesting if Rachel gets it. Because I think if Rachel does, it makes her more of a threat as a bad guy, and it throws into question, is Bomb really the chosen one, or is Rachel right about him? And I think giving us that question would make Bomb's character and story a lot deeper and richer. Next up, Paul 1991ish says, I'm still waiting for my boy Kun to put in some work this arc. I definitely do know how you feel there, but I'm also okay with Kun not doing that much this arc, other than towards the beginning. And he did a little bit with Dali, but I'm okay with him not doing that much, because I thought Kun got a lot of good attention in the Name Hunt Station. His stuff with Shiplisu, his stuff with Hatsu, where he even fought Hatsu, was great. And then his stuff at the end, still with Shiplisu, going into taking Bomb to Kaiser, and all of his stuff with Alphine as well. So Kun got a lot of attention in the Name Hunt Station, so I'm perfectly fine with where he is now. And Kun gets a lot of attention in most arcs, so I think it's cool that the Floor of Death isn't really focusing on him as much, because really it's not focusing on any of Bomb's allies very much. It's focusing on like Bomb, Yurik, Yuri, even new characters like Haku or Heljo. It's mostly focusing on the new characters or the high rankers and stuff. It's not focusing as much on Bomb's teammates, or really, there's been focus on Bomb during his backstory and during all that, but even when it came to the fights and stuff, there hasn't been a ton of focus on Bomb for the fights. There's been decent focus, but you know what I mean. So if even Bomb isn't getting huge focus, then I'm okay with Kun not getting that much, especially when Kun usually gets a lot. And then lastly, for our last comment to discuss this week for Tower of God, Joe K said, "Woo, I'm excited to watch, been waiting for this. Thank you for your hard work from your Twitter, it seemed like hell. No problems, thank you for watching, thank you all for watching, and yeah, that review took me a while to get up, but they continued on. Anyway, such a good chapter. The art was great, the story progressed nicely, and there are little moments in the chapter and blog that really expand on the characters. Gastang speaking to Yurik about how special they are, White's title, My Life Sucks at the Moment, and so on. Very cool stuff. Yeah, for me, I really like the blog this week, because like you said, it told us a lot about the characters, and I wasn't prepared or expecting for us to get that much information just in the blog, just given out in the blog, especially with the Slayers and stuff like that, and Karaka being the one going after Zahar. The blog was really good this week. Then the next part they carried on. One of the things I've been seeing a lot were people speaking of Gastang's talk with Yurik, how everyone in the tower is insignificant or small, the irregulars are the special ones, the big fish within the pond, and I think that holds true, maybe. I'm at least 50% sure on this, but from what I remember, the heads aren't as active as back when they were climbing the tower and setting up the rules of the tower. Therefore, the real rank and power are hard to pin down. But I truly believe, from what we've heard about them and from what Siu has told us, that they really are the top dogs. They're waiting for something, maybe Zahar to wake up and start climbing again, but it's too early to say, not even going to try and tackle that beast. For my thoughts on that, I think the biggest factors in what Gastang was saying were kind of the immortality and political power, like the political power that comes from controlling one of the 10 great families, because you know the 10 great families have all these connections to all the families under them, all the branches, all of these rankers and princesses and stuff that came from their families. So there's a lot of power that comes from being the leader of all those powerful people. So I think that a bit of what he's saying is that even if somebody might be stronger in combat, like say if Adori Zahard could beat him in a fight, even if Adori Zahard could beat him in a fight, they simply aren't an irregular. Like, they don't have the way to overcome immortality, his influence. So yeah, even if they're stronger combat-wise, they're not as versatile as an irregular, they're not immortal, and they don't have the influence they do. And there's no real easy way to overcome that. And I think, like, it's reasonable. Like, if you cannot die, then I see how that makes you confident where you are. Then lastly, they said, it really came out of nowhere that people think the girl Rack is with is Blossom. I don't know what to say on that opinion for now, but if it ends up being true, it'll be disappointment. Pure disappointment, that's all. Yeah, I have no idea why people were asking if that was her and commenting if that was her on like the chapter and the wiki and all these places. Because I don't know, it seems out of nowhere. I don't see why they're thinking that. I already said why I don't think it's that. But it just seems like there was no evidence for us to think that to begin with, so I'm not sure what the deal was there. But that is it for Tower of God this week. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the Tower of God section. Next up, we have our Boku no Hero Academia section, starting off with Joe K, who said, man, that smile from Fat Gum at the end, I loved it. It immediately made me think of Gran Torino. Without the fat, he actually looks like him quite a bit. And the fighting in this chapter was so brutal. Poor Kirishima, I wonder if any of his injuries will be permanent. He looked as if he was skinned. I'm sure it won't end up being that bad, but still. Thanks for the reaction. Thank you for your comment. I also thought that Fat Gum had a similar look to Torino. I don't think they're related in any way. I just think it's similar costume design, similar hair, and it's by the same mangaka. So I think that the resemblance is coincidental. I don't think they're actually related. And as for Kirishima, I think he'll be fine after he gets healing, probably from Recovery Girl or something. But I do think he's going to be out at least for the rest of the assault on this place. He's at least going to be out of the fighting now for this arc. Next up, Darcy Forrester said, we've seen the guy with the radio in Kirishima's flashback before, by the way, twice in chapter 57 and once as a silhouette in chapter 100. I had seen others talk, or for me personally, I had seen others talking about how he had been shown before. Thank you for telling me which chapters. And I'll be interested to see what he's like, because his words during the chapter were really weird, where he was talking about he does it for the Lord, he was looking for that specific hero, he just approached these girls in broad daylight. So it was really odd, so I'll be interested to see what he's like. They also brought up how it seems like certain Villain Alliance members or villains are being sort of built to be paired off against certain members of Class 1A, like they said Toga and Uraraka, Izuku and Shigaraki, Todoroki and Dabi, this guy in Kirishima perhaps, are sort of being set up, and they said maybe even what's his Spinner, because he's so much like a second Stain, he's like a Stain zealot is what I've said, and Dita. So I think that's completely possible, and I can see that happening with a few of them. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the villains keep collecting people that matches folds to certain members of the main cast. Because it does seem like, now that, I mean, you've said that, and I'm sure plenty of people have said it, it seems that it is kind of being built a little bit that way. I'm not sure it's going to be I think it's going to be, maybe they'll face off at random times throughout the series, like we'll have this fight between, say, Himiko and Uraraka that'll settle something important for their arcs, and then the series will continue for time and time and time, and then we'll get another fight at some point. I don't think it's going to just be like, oh, the 20 Villain Alliance members versus the 20 Class A members all at once. I don't think that's how it's going to work out. But I do think there are some folds there. Then White Bear Beppo said, Mina had all the bases for me to like her, the outgoing personality, but she never pushed it to the next level for me to go crazy about her. But for some reason, when she started breakdancing with the group of those kids, I just fell in love with her. Hagakure is the only one left for me to fanboy about. She has that cute personality and great voice actors, but there's nothing outstanding so far. For me, I think that Mina's a great character. The breakdancing scene was really funny. But I think she's really underused. I think her power is awesome, her design is really cool and unique, her personality is really cool and interesting, but we've just seen very little of her used in the story so far, and you can say that about a lot of characters. And for a while, I've said this a bunch of times too, HaQ&A for me, I've said for such a long time, could be so amazing with the right writing. Because for me, the thought of a character that can be popular with fans and awesome, without having a physical appearance for people to judge and base their liking or not liking or based on that, I think it'd be just so cool if a completely invisible character just got over with fans like that. Then lastly, for Boku no Hero Academia, very nice, says, I'm liking the friendship between Mina and Kirishima, even though they weren't shown interacting that much before. Same here. I hope, personally, that we get to see them interact a little bit more here and there, but like not too much that it seems out of place since they weren't much before, but just enough to where it calls back to this and it makes sense having them having gone to the same middle school. So yeah, I do hope we have more stuff with them, just nothing heavy-handed, just normal stuff for Boku no Hero Academia. And that is it for the Boku no Hero Academia section this week. Okay, everybody, got one One Piece comment to discuss, and I thought, do I really want to make a section just for this one comment I want to discuss? And I decided I really want to discuss it, so yeah, we're going to talk about it. Seek210 said, I'm now really interested as to how strong Streusen can be, and interested to know that the things he turns into food turn out to taste horrible. I like the little bit of comedy with Beige putting the sign and also Nami calling out Caesar the whole time. I do wonder where the Germal went, and it should be a really interesting chapter with Big Mom raging next chapter, especially because it was when they were about to go after the Straw Hats and the Fire Tank Pirates. The reason I wanted to bring this up, of course I thought that was all funny. I do wonder where the Germa went. Like I said, I kind of assumed they escaped, just went back to Germa. I guess the ship will have to split apart and run away now. But to me, the reason I wanted to discuss this is because reading that comment back through, I just think it'll be so funny if Big Mom rampaging is the reason that the Straw Hats and Fire Tanks and Germa escape. Her own gluttonous stupidity cost her enemies escaping. Because it's hard for me to judge Big Mom as a character or like her as a character, because I'm so used to the One Piece villains being strong or charismatic or powerful, and that's why they're good villains. But then you get Big Mom whose strength comes from the fact that she's just fat and stupid. Like, there's no other way to put it. And her biggest strength is also her biggest weakness, is that all she's got is that she's fat and stupid. And that can backfire on her by her killing her own family, potentially for the second time now. Streusen also, I think, is interesting. I'd like to see what he can do in a fight as well, since Capone brought it up. And yeah, that's it for One Piece this week. Last section this week, Magical Girl Raising Project, let's talk about it. I left out the comments for chapters that we've already gone past, just leaving the ones from the most recent one, so let us discuss. Deshaun Gamble said, and before I start, if you're not caught up to where we are in the read-throughs, spoilers, because we're going to be talking about stuff that's up to the point where we're caught up at the read-throughs, which is the end of Chapter 10, I believe. Chapter 11 is the only one we haven't read yet. So Deshaun Gamble said, R.I.P. Pechika, she died a hero, and to think all she wanted was the D. Her death now teaches us that even though you may seem like the main character, nobody is safe in Magical Girl Raising Project. Not Snow White and not the returning characters from future arcs, keep that in mind. Also, Asari once said that at first he wanted Lazaline to survive the killing game when writing Restart, but instead he decided to kill her off in the place of one of the survivors of Restart. Of course, I won't say the survivor's name because of spoilers. The Melville vs. Great Dragon Clan Tale is another scene I really want to see animated. Next week is going to be great. Seriously, I cannot wait to see your reactions. Since Lazaline and Clan Tale were in the same place, I would say that if they killed Lazaline for somebody to survive, I'm hoping it was Clan Tale. I could also see it being Shadow Gale, though. Don't see it being Flez much for some reason. Do I think Flez is going to survive? I kind of do. Kind of hope so. Um, I really hope I kind of hope and feel like the last three are going to survive. I feel like I really feel like Clantail, Shadowgale, and Flea, no matter what happens, I kind of get the feeling they're going to survive, and if any of them die, I have a feeling most of all for Clantail, but I hope she does not die very strongly. But Andrew Zapita said Pechika burned Melville completely. Dijon said Pechika triggered Melville multiple times, and Andrea said made her look like an idiot. For me, I think Pechika's death helped the series a lot. It was a great scene, not just because it shoots down plot armor comments, but two, because a heroic death is just really strong and emotional writing whenever you do it. And I'm pretty sure, for me, some point along the way, I'm pretty sure I predicted the heroic sacrifice death for Pechika, because I predicted in the first arc for sure. I was like, Snow White's gonna die this heroic death as the main character. Then it didn't happen. So when it didn't happen the first arc, second arc, I'm like, Pechika's the new Snow White. She's gonna die this heroic death. I guess pretty much Pechika just got the Snow White prediction passed down to her. Next, Sterok said, with all the crazy fights and shenanigans and restart, I think Pechika's death is the moment I most want animated. It's very emotional and topping off a great arc for her. One of the best deaths in the series. Lazaline biting it's a bummer though, especially since Rionetta and Pechika were just killed by the same person. Keeps things exciting, I guess. Onward to the thrilling conclusion. Marco Polo said according to Asari himself he cried for Pechika's death. For me, I think that, like I said before, Pechika's sacrifice is probably my favorite scene so far in the series, actually. I was, like you saw during the reaction, I was freaking out. I'm very bummed about Lazaline, though. I wouldn't have been... If Lazaline and Clantail would have both survived, I would have been perfectly fine for that. I would have liked to see her survive to pass on the Lazaline name, because her dying here just makes the whole plot line with the Lazaline name being passed down and everything, and her being trained and all that, her being trained just to die here, it feels like her character was good, but it had barely been used. And really she didn't get that much screen time in Restart, so I feel like, I just really feel like Lazaline wasn't used well enough to me. I think that she should have survived and been used in future arcs. Either way, Roos12389 said, this can't be happening. 3 magical girls, Noko-chan, Lazaline, and Pechika, that I wanted to survive, all died in one chapter, just before the final. I wanted at least one of them to survive. Deshaun Gamble said, just like Haku's, I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions at Chapter 11. Next week's going to be fun. For me, I wasn't as attached to Noko-chan or Pechika. I like them, but I wasn't super attached. But I am upset Lazaline died because, like I just said, her character, I think, would have done better if it got to go into future arcs and get more development. One thing, though, Noko-chan, after all the stuff we saw, even seeing stuff about her in her real-life form, for her to die off-screen like that, though it brings up some mystery, maybe I do kind of question the decision maybe a tiny bit. And then we're led into our last comment for the section, last comment for the HaQ&A this week. Seek210 said, that was a pretty crazy chapter and so many deaths. I'm really sad Pechika died, since she has become my favorite girl from the whole arc, but she died a hero and saved Clantail. I also did not think Noko-chan was going to die off panel either. Yeah, like I was saying. I really want to know now if Mel was really the demon, because there are only 3 girls alive. I hope Snow White beats the crap out of the Master for making everyone go through all of this. On a side note, though, for some reason, maybe it's just me, or is Flea a little yandere for Shadowgale, since she did kill 98 people off for her, so that both could survive. For me, I'm really praying for Clantail's survival, so that Pechika's sacrifice doesn't go to waste, because if Clantail dies now, I'm just going to feel like Pechika's sacrifice was a bit wasted. I don't think Melville was the Demon Lord, because the game's continuing, but she was definitely the murderer. Demon Lord, I think, it could be Clantail or Shadowgale, but they refused to kill people. It could be Flea, and she also refused to kill people, and instead of killing people, she was trying to probe and find a way outside of the game, find some sort of glitch, some way to escape. I could see that being a possibility as well. or it could be somebody that we haven't seen yet or that we think is somewhere else. We do know... Oh shit, I just thought of something. While recording this. Ripple has the cloak of invisibility. What if Ripple was in this thing all along, but she's got the cloak of invisibility, so she's just been hiding? Because Ripple is also a child of Clamberry. I don't think it's Snow White. You could make that same argument for Snow White, that Snow White threw on the cloak of invisibility and has been hiding here. But we haven't seen Ripple this arc. We've seen Snow White doing stuff with the Master, and the timeline may be deceptive with what she's doing with the Master. But I'm thinking maybe it's Ripple with the Ripple with the cloak. That could be possible. I'm hoping though that all three survive. Like maybe a situation like this happens. Clan Taylor Shadowgale says, "Well, I'm the Demon Lord, but I didn't kill anybody." So then whichever one's on the other side, like if Clantail's the Demon Lord, Flea tries to kill her, like, okay, we can kill her and escape, Momori. Or if Momori is or Shadowgale is the Demon Lord, then maybe Clantail goes after her and Flea tries to protect her. And then they all have sort of a standoff, and then bam, Snow White takes out the Master, and they're all Gucci, all three survive. I could see something like that happening as well. Just going through some different thoughts and predictions I have. But that would be it. That's all I got. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, there will be that list of the anime I'm watching this season down there, or the ones I'm trying at least. Well, my hair looks really weird, and it's been like that all video probably. And I will also have a link to the Discord down there for those of you that want it, and if it's expired or if you want a new one, just tell me, I'll comment a new one for you. So, if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this week's HaQ&A, all the stuff I discussed here, or anything you want to talk about next week, anything about any of the anime I'm watching, we can ask sections for them. Subscribe for more of everything here and much, much more. Follow on Twitter if you want, I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That is it. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.